Coach, Matt, Rob, thanks for the time. We'll start with opening thoughts on the game from each of you and then take questions.
Yeah, I thought that the Waterdogs played extremely hard. I thought that they took advantage of their opportunities. It's been a little bit of a challenge for us all year as far as, being consistent for 4 quarters. Good second half. It still had some opportunities and didn't take advantage of them. I thought that the Waterdogs are very opportunistic, and unfortunately we didn't get it done when we had our chances. But again, a much better effort in the second half. We're going to spend this off season figuring out what we got to do to play 4 quarters. But it's a very good team. I think we're a very good team. I just got to find a way to get the best out of us for a full 48 minutes.
Yeah, I think Coach hit the nail on the head there. It's pretty disappointing. I think you have to tip your cap to the Waterdogs there. We didn't deserve to win that game, and they played well. They made plays, and they deserve to win today. I think the frustrating part is like Coach said, we know what we're capable of, and I just don't think we didn't have played our potential today, and I think that's what's gonna kick us a little bit. Is you look at that game, it's 12-12 down the stretch, and you're playing a game where emotionally it feels like we're just not clicking, and we're still in it, and then we have the opportunity and we just don't finish. So I think Coach alluded to it, but certainly disappointing. I think tip your cap to the Waterdogs. They outplayed us today.
Unless you're the last team standing, the season never goes the way you want it to go, and it's proud of this group, and it's really unfortunate, especially when you have a great locker room and great guys who all really care about each other and love being around each other. And it was a challenging season, and we've started to play our best lacrosse as of late. We just didn't do what we needed to do today, but that doesn't say what great a group this is and what great job Matt does leading this group and Coach does in keeping us accountable and on the same page, and making sure we're on a week-to-week basis ready to play. So it's just unfortunate because when you don't have that great a group, maybe it's a little easier, but it's we know what we have in that locker room, and it just and what we're capable of, like Matt said.
Questions?
Coach, what was said at halftime? That was tale of two tapes, especially on defense there.
Yeah, again, it's something that we have to work through. At halftime, it took some strong language, and again, Matt Dunn, who's been a great leader for us all year, stepped up, and I wasn't particularly happy at halftime, and probably the first time all year that I've had to address them like that. But even with that, they jumped out and got a couple quick ones early in the second half, and finally we kind of settled in. And again, look, the game is a lot of funny bounces, a lot of pipes. There's a lot of things that could have gone the other way, but at the same time, you got to create your breaks and opportunities, and they did a better job of that than we did.
Questions on Zoom? Kyle?
This might be a quick one.
Yeah, for Matt, tonight the Waterdogs attack were the only guys that were able to register goals against you guys. What did you notice, from the previous 2 matchups that you guys were able to, face them and kind of study this week leading into the game that may have been different? And obviously one is CJ Kirst, and what was it like, having to go out and defend him?
Yeah, I think thanks for reminding me. We talked about it after the last press conference where they were going to figure out how to use CJ Kirst. He was injured. They had him coming out of the box, and he just won the Tour-a-ton and is maybe the best lacrosse player in the last decade, to come out of college. And so he was a different dynamic for them. And if you look at how they scored, early on, a lot of them were kind of bang-bang plays where they were super opportunistic in a scramble, and we felt pretty comfortable with how we were guarding them when we got it settled. But the fact of the matter in this league is that there's so much of it happens in that gray area, and they really capitalize. So Like I said, like we knew their tendencies. We had a game plan. I think it was largely the right game plan. I just don't think we executed that well. And in a game like the PLL with a short shot clock and the athleticism and skill and the diving and some of the rules, they made a lot of plays. Their players made plays, and you can't write that off as like, that being okay with that. That's just who they are, and they capitalize. So I think, a skilled group like them, they stepped up, they showed up, and we still had a chance to win, and we just didn't get it done.
Hey, Rob, this one's for you. So you're new to the Whipsnakes this year, but you're still one of the leaders and the veterans they look to. Going into this next season, what are you looking forward to the most to build off of, and how do you plan on helping lead this offensive side of the ball to a more successful season?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Honestly, I haven't even started thinking about next season yet. This game just happened, and I will say personally, it's each and every week with the Whipsnakes has gotten better and better as I've been part of this team, and I've gotten more and more comfortable being around these guys and being myself and being a leader, thanks to Coach Staggs and Matt, allowing me to do that. So I just focused on the locker room right now today and this game and just being with the guys, and unfortunately we'll have time to think about next season.
Miles.
Coach, Aiden Carroll had a great game, 4 goals and an assist. He was really aggressive on rides and 50-50 ground balls. I was just wondering if you could speak to his performance in his first career playoff game.
He's done that all year. He had a little bit of a blip, during that time off. Again, something that young guys got to get used to. But down the stretch here, he's been consistently very good, and for a first-year player, his composure and his ability to execute and do the things we ask him to do is terrific. And Rob said it right from one of the first practices that he was with him, that this kid can play and he's got the green light. And so, I mean, honestly, at the end of the game, if I could have got it to happen a little more often, we were looking to get the ball in his stick and set him up. He was the guy. I mean, him and Rob were the two guys that were able to win some matchups and do some things down there for us. And it's what he's been all year. Like, no surprise there. And he's played in big games too, and he played like a big game player tonight.
Kyle.
Yeah, for any of you guys that want to answer the question, Brad Smith hits that 2 tonight for you guys, and it felt like that was the first time all night that the momentum really swung your guys' way, drew even for the first time since it was 1-1 in the game. It seems like all year, and Coach, we've talked about it all season long, where Brad battling back from his injuries and everything, but it always feels like he's in the right place at the right time. Can you just talk about that clutch gene that Brad Smith has, that no matter when you need it, it always feels like he's already ready to come up big for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little play that we set up, and he got his hands free. He was in the right spot of the field. He stuck it. Again, this has not been an easy transition for Brad. I mean, I think the number was 500 days. Like, that's a long time not to play lacrosse and competitively. So, I'm excited about where he's going and what's going to happen next. I think if you ask Brad, he's going to tell you that, this year was a challenge for him. But again, he scored some really big goals for us. But we expect an awful lot from him. And to be fair, it's hard to ask too much for someone who's been off 500 days. But I guarantee you, he's going to come back and he's going to be even more confident and better. But there's a reason he's out there, and there's a reason that he's the guy at the end of that play, because we know that he has the ability to do what he did on that play.
Dan.
Yeah, for Matt, we heard, Aiden Carroll, obviously highest scoring player on the Whips today, but, Emmett had 13 saves for you guys. If you could, as just a captain and a locker room leader for this team, talk to, I guess, the impact of the rookie class this year and what you think these guys have brought to the Whipsnakes over the course of the season.
Yeah, it's. I think we highlighted Aiden. You mentioned Emmett. I think as Rob alluded to, we love our team. And I'm sure a lot of people say that. We one of the biggest disappointments about today is that we don't get together next week and in 2 weeks after that. And that's really frustrating because we enjoy being around each other. It's good, like-minded people, and the rookies are a big part of that. You need to be in this league. And so a guy like Aiden coming in, Emmett, I think Emmett, if you watch the second half of the season, you can make a case that he's the best or one of the best goalies in the league. We did not give him fair shots today. More than half of them were probably on the doorstep. But just like the ability for those guys to step up on the field, the way they buy into what we're doing, and even Emmett's a leader on the team, Aiden's a leader on the team, and they're rookies. You got Christian Mazer playing well for us and doing what we need him to do, and so we have a lot of young guys on this team, some sophomores, some rookies, and one awesome guys that add a lot of value to us this year, and great on the field, great off the field. So I can't say enough good things about how those guys came in and brought value to our team.
Last question, Miles.
Coach, we've heard Matt talk about how great the guys in the locker room are, and Rob praise how you guys have gotten better each week this season. I was just wondering, in your own words, what's so special about this group this year?
They're good people. They've stayed upbeat. They're coachable. They put in the work during the week. These guys communicate with each other. Sometimes it's disappointing. It's like being a parent, right? Some days you're frustrated, but I have so much respect for these guys. And as Matt said, it's really hard to end the season because even through our challenges this year, I think we all look forward to getting back together every week because I think we realize, the untapped potential of this team, and I think the future is very bright. And again, as we always do, we'll evaluate where we are in the off season, but this is just a terrific group of guys. And again, people talk about culture. Culture's about the people, and our people are all on the same page. They care. They come every week and they respond to everything in a positive way, and they can challenge each other in a way that everybody accepts it, and they know they have each other's best interests in mind. And there's nothing. Look, I can always find something that is coachable about what we do, but there's nothing I can say that any of these guys need to do better in order to be a good teammate or a good locker room guy.
Thank you all. Appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Coach Kieran, Michael, congrats on the win. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
Yeah, thanks. It's you hear the same things over and over again, but hopefully I say them when we lose and I say them when we win is how proud I am of these guys. And we were just talking coming over, I don't know what our midfield scoring count was today, but it wasn't much, but they played the best game of the season. And that goes hand in hand with these two guys and CJ, playing the offense that, Coach Sheridan doesn't get enough credit. But these guys got to put they got to put the ball in the back of the net. But from Stath battling Nardella to the defense buckling down to Matt making some big saves, Courier was on the field for I think 47 minutes of the 48. To lose 4 in a row, this group of guys could have gotten down and they didn't. And I felt like at the end of last game, even though we kind of backed our way into the playoffs, we came away with a lot of positive feelings, a lot of confidence, and it continued today. So couldn't be more proud. Happy to go back to Philly and see what we can do next time.
Yeah, I mean that's everything we expected out of that team. We're familiar with that team, especially in the playoffs. We knew they weren't going to go away. They tie it late, and we just had to step up and keep on hammering away. And 2 more to go here.
Yeah, I mean these guys hit the nail on the head. I think our mids were awesome. Courier was unreal. Defense stepped up when we needed. I think the other thing that I would add is I just have so much respect for the Whipsnakes. In this league, you get some teams that there's some extracurriculars that come along with playing them, and with those guys, it's just good hard lacrosse. They play the game the right way, and that starts with Stags, and they're veterans, so just have a ton of respect for those guys.
Coach, talk about your man down 2 minutes. That could have been a critical point in the game.
Yeah, it was. It was Brad Smith is a hell of a player, and he had 4 2-pointers on the year. 3 of them were against us, and then so we had to concentrate on him. So the theory on man down this week was we'll give up a 1 but not a 2, and then later on he goes all even and gets his 2 anyway. So God knows where that went into the wind, but they dug in. Everybody just. They played confidently. I give Matt Witcher, a lot of credit. He kind of pulled the man down together last night in practice, and we had everything explained out. It's a hard team. They're really, really good. And with the 2 minute, you're looking at opportunities that could have changed the game by 5, and it ends up that, they only get 1. And to be honest, I felt like, all right, well, we'll give up 1. They had to work for it. Now they got to win another face-off, which Stath wins. We each got, I think, 1. We each scored once man up, and so that was pretty even. In a game like this, there's not going to be a lot of penalties, but a 2 minute can kill you.
Questions on Zoom? Dre?
Hey, Karen, this one's for you. So. You always look like like ageless, like you're having like a ton of fun playing with guys like CJ and JT and Mike week in and week out. How have you just consistently continued to get better, and what's it been like playing with this iteration of the Waterdogs?
Yeah, I mean, these guys extended my career about 5 more years, so cheers to them. No, I mean, it's just, I love the game. I love the sport. I love the process, the work that needs to be put in, week out, in the off season, for these moments particularly. You play this game for championships, for the brotherhood, for the friendships, all that stuff. It's just been a hell of a ride so far, and we see another day and continue fighting on here.
Mike?
Yeah, for Michael and Kieran, you guys, along with CJ, scored all the goals today. What were you seeing from Maryland's defense that allowed you guys to find so much success?
Sometimes they were sliding to us and sometimes they weren't, right? And when they weren't sliding, guys were turning the corner and finishing the ball. And then if they were sliding, we were finding the open man, moving the ball and sharing the rock. That's a veteran defense. That's won many championships, been around for a while. We just had to stay disciplined throughout the whole game, and we canned our opportunities when we had them.
Kyle?
Yeah, for all of you guys, obviously you never want to get too far ahead of yourself, but was there any discussion of like added motivation knowing that if you guys stuck to your game plan today, you would get that home semifinal game, be able to play in front of your home fans and go back to Philadelphia?
Go ahead, Michael. You're the home guy.
I mean, honestly, not really. I think, our group, we're veteran-led, and I think we understand the importance of each game this time of year. Like the Whipsnakes aren't going to roll over. That's a veteran team. If you don't come ready to play and you're looking ahead, they're going to beat you. And I think our vets, our captains did a great job of keeping us grounded. We had great calls throughout the week. I think we had a great plan. And so the answer is no. We certainly weren't looking ahead. But, now that we have that opportunity in front of us, I think our group's super excited.
Mike?
Yeah, Coach. Matt DeLuca with 10 saves today, one of them being the clutch save at the end of the game. Can you share what went into the decision to start him and what you thought of his performance?
We've been through this roller coaster all season, and I feel like I've got two great guys, and you've heard me say it before. The most important thing is how they support each other. It's a real test of a man, a real test of character when you're disappointed in something, but the reaction to that is even more important. And to watch Matt DeLuca, right, and Dylan Ward react to the disappointment of not being in there, the way they do, the way they support the team. I mean, honestly, Dylan Ward's like another coach, and he is really special. And so, we just felt like Matt has been good against the Whipsnakes. He made some saves, today that were big toward the end. But in this league, if you get anywhere near 50%, you're doing okay. And it was up to us to protect him. And I think for the most part, we did that, other than Smith's two-pointer. And he stepped up big. So he's young, and he needs to get playoff experience. And having this go into the record books with him being the goalie is going to be a big thing for him. Dylan Ward, there's not enough accolades you can say about that guy. But he's won world championships. He's won league championships. He's just a phenomenal goalie. But we felt that Matt was the better guy this week to go against the Whipsnakes.
Dan?
Yeah, for Kieran, there's a play early in this game where off of a face-off, Marcus Hudgens lays out, keeps a ground ball alive, ends up with CJ, and then it's one ahead to you for a goal. It felt like early a lot of, you guys were doing the scoring, but the sparks came from plays like that. So how did kind of the tone get set maybe from, you guys were doing the scoring from plays outside of the attack?
Yeah, I mean, those are big energy plays, right? Like, you need those in the playoffs, and the attack was on the scoreboard today, but hell, the rest of our players out there, they set the tone, they set the energy. They were flying around the field, making plays. We definitely won the ground ball battle, and that's going to win us the game. So, hats off to our whole team, putting a full team effort together and, playing for 48 minutes there.
Dre?
Michael, Kieran, this is for both of you. Zach Currier was everywhere today in the game. Can you guys just kind of talk what it's been like, what it's like that, like a game like that, getting that out of him is like, and also what it's been like playing with him this season?
Yeah, I mean, Zach's just a special one. I've had the privilege of playing with him at Princeton as well, and I think everybody up here, T's pretty competitive, but I was going to say Zach's the most competitive person I've ever been around. He's just got this drive and this motor that never stops, and he just does everything. So we're lucky to have him.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Coach, a lot of the defense and a lot of the defensive unit for you guys is very inexperienced, or this was their very first PLL postseason game. How impressed were you by the young guys in their first playoff action and them being able to kind of keep their composure, never let the moment get too big for them, and just their performance overall as a unit?
Yeah, I think obviously this is a big deal. This is professional lacrosse. As I told the guys before the game, there was only 4 teams playing today. And now you got 2 more great teams that sat out and watched, but who will be playing next week. But, when you think about that, that's, 25 guys on a team. That's 100 players were involved with this event today. And there's millions of kids who play lacrosse. And so for these young guys to be out, it's their responsibility, I believe. It's their responsibility to play to the best they can, not just for themselves, not just for us to be moving on to the semifinals, but for lacrosse in general. And we got to remember, this team won a championship a few years ago, and only one of those defenders is left. And so these young guys, their toughest job all year was trying to get positions over some really good lacrosse players. So they've been through battles. A lot of them have been through NCAA tournaments. A lot of them have had to battle their way into these jobs. And it's a credit to them. These aren't 18-year-olds. These are 23, 24-year-old guys that know what it takes to get here. And, he certainly knew what it took today for them to dig in when they had to, especially toward the end when the Whips tied it up.
Dan?
Yeah, Michael, 8 points for you today. Can you talk about the decision to go with the mustache and how that impacted your ability to put 8 points on the board today?
All the credit.
I do got to credit the mustache. No, I mean, honestly, I started growing it, and then I've never grown a mustache before. So I was like, it takes me a while to get one going. I don't know if I can shave it. So that's kind of where we are. Now that I have it and we won, I think I got to keep going with it.
We call it the caterpillar.
Last question, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, congrats on your first playoff win. With everything you've accomplished in your career, what does it mean to add this achievement to the list?
What these guys have afforded me is an opportunity to, number one, be with a really great group of young men and people. And so, they've afforded me the opportunity to extend that career. But I can tell you, it's really different. And when you only practice once a week, the credit can't go to the coach. The credit has got to go to the guys deciding to use their skills, use their love of each other, and dig something out like they did today. So, I'm proud. I'm just proud to be a small part of it. I'm proud to be able to have these guys allow me to be a part of it as the summer goes through. And I'm shitty at golf.
One more here.
Question for all of you guys. Looking to next Monday, big game in Philly. What's your message to the fans there, and what would it mean for you guys to get that support from the home crowd?
If you, as you all probably were, if you saw the game 2 weeks ago, it was something special. I'm not sure, it was healthy for me personally, but it was really a special lacrosse game. And to their credit, that is one loaded lacrosse team. And this whole East-West thing gives it even, as crazy as it sounds, it gives it even more juice when you've played somebody twice. But we walked off the field today, and as we walked into the locker room, all I could think of was Teat and Schellenberger, and so they quickly come to mind, and it's a great team. But, it beats the heck out of not being there and not giving it a shot. I think our guys came out of that last game feeling like we could compete with them, and hopefully make a few less mistakes, and we shoot the way we did last time, and we can make a game of it.
Yeah, I mean, playing in Philly in front of our home crowd is going to be something that we're going to need. We're going to need that fan base behind us, cheering us on. We'll feed off that energy. We've We've done it before in big moments, so you know, we're looking forward to having our fans out there and showing up in a big way.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that home crowd has always showed up for us this time of year. So to have this opportunity to go home, play in front of the home crowd, it's special. I mean, as a player, this is everything you asked for, so we're excited.
Thank you all. Enjoy the win. We'll see you in
Thanks a lot.
Philadelphia.
Thank you.